Hey everyone, welcome to Atomic Darts. I'm your host Matthew. On this channel we take a look at darts related materials, and other items that you, our subscribers, ask us to review. And before we get into our review today, why don't you take a moment to go ahead and like and subscribe the channel, hit the bell down below, and you'll know whenever I post a new video. And you might be asking yourself, what is he wearing? Well, this is a Kansas City Chiefs jersey. It is Super Bowl week and the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl, and since I'm a huge fan of the Chiefs and DT himself, because this is Derek Thomas's jersey, one of the finest football players ever, and of course a Kansas City Chiefs. A Kansas City Chief. But I'm excited they're in the Super Bowl, and so I am wearing this jersey for this review, and of course I tend to wear it all week long because it's Chiefs. Anyway, let's get into our review. What are we taking a look at today? That's the question? Well, here it is. All right, guys, so today we are taking a look at the Gran Board 132. This is basically a practice board for soft tip. Now, if you're not familiar with steel tip and soft tip boards, soft tips use a plastic point, steel tip use a steel tip point. Kind of makes sense. Steel tip boards, they happen to have them where you can get a practice board, which has like little circles on it, or typically the segments on the board will be thinner or smaller so that you're practicing with something that's a smaller space to throw the dart at. Now, in cases of a soft tip board, they've kind of been static. It's just the board. You know, I have one behind me. As far as the segment goes, they've always been the same. Well, Gran Board came out with the 132, and this is actually a practice board where the segments are smaller. So let's go ahead and open this box up, get a look at it, and we're going to compare it right next to a Gran Board 3 and see the size difference in the segments. All right, let's open this thing up.
All right, guys, so after watching my review of this particular product that we're going to review today, I realized that I made some errors and I learned some stuff today in regards to this product. So I just want to come on ahead of time and say, yes, I realize that the board we're looking at today isn't necessarily a practice board for soft tip, but it could be used for that, or at least in my opinion, that's definitely that. But this particular board was actually designed with some of the European countries in play, or that play this size and style board. And I do know that throughout the video I mentioned the board as being the Gran 123. It is the 132, and that's actually a measurement that said Germany and other countries use for their boards. These boards are basically identical to the steel tip version of the board, which you would see in the pubs there in, say, Germany. But this is a soft tip version. It's a way for them to bring soft tip to Europe. So I do understand now, after being educated this morning by the explainer from Soft Tip Central on Coffee and Darts, along with just some more research and the fact that I watched the video and I keep saying 123 versus 132. But all in all, I think the review is dead on as far as it's a great board. And from a practice board perspective, I think that's exactly what it could be used for. And for me, that's what I'll use it for, unless I decide to go play some people in Germany. Maybe I'll have this board hung, or maybe I won't, and that way I'll have an advantage. But hey, watch this review, check it out, leave me some comments down below, and of course, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Enjoy this video.
All right, so here's what comes in the Gran Board 123. You get the board, and it does come in this white with the blue and red segments. You get this power cord right here, and you get some hanging hardware. Now, if we look at this really quickly, I'll flip it over. You'll notice this section right here, that does allow for what is the puck system on the Gran Board. There's a system where it actually attaches to the wall, and there's a puck that attaches to the back of the board. And I'll show you what that looks like on my Gran Board 3. But let's go ahead and line them up next to each other so we can see the differences. But again, really nice looking board, very durable plastic. But these segments right here, these doubles and these triples, and even these bigger sections look smaller. These look like a traditional steel tip. So I'm going to grab a steel tip as well, and we'll kind of compare all three just to give you an idea of the segment shaping. And actually this board is smaller. It looks to be more like a steel tip, but we will compare them side by side and see what we actually get. But this is it, and it's made just like the Gran boards in general. If you're not familiar with Gran board, great system. There is an app that allows you to play online. You can play the app itself, there's multiple games, or you can play people from around the world. And I literally mean pretty much every country is covered with this. There are just people all across the world that are consistently playing. Friends are being made, and this is really bringing the community of darts together. This particular board is doing that by itself in its own right. It's amazing what the Gran board community looks like. So all right, let's go ahead and grab a Gran board 3 and just line them right up. So here's the Gran board 3. You can already see this guy's bigger. This is the puck system. I'll just show you, I have it on here. So this puck system goes on there, allows you to just slide this into the wall and tighten things up without using these screw holes. So as you can see right there, I'm going to pick this one up and just set it. You can just see it right there. Much different in size. Of course, the 1, 2, 3 being smaller, but let's check out these segment sizes right here. You can see this. These segment sizes are much bigger in your doubles, your triples, and even these segments are going to be smaller just because they made the board in itself smaller. So much, much smaller. I'm going to get a measuring tape and I'm going to grab a steel tip so we can compare those as well. All right, so here is a Shot Bandit Plus. It's an old board I had, but as you can see, these segments look fairly similar. These are actually, I think, still a little bit smaller just by looking at them. At least these bigger segments look smaller here, but the doubles and the triples, even on this practice board for soft tip, look smaller here. This might be something you can use to practice for both steel tip and soft tip. Let's see if we can do some comparison here. If I can get this in close. We're just gonna set everything on top of each other. But you can see these segments, this one's definitely smaller. Wonder how they measure out. So these segments are measuring, wow, 1/4 of an inch, if that. And this segment right in here, a little bit larger, but not by much. And then if I drag this over, right in here, I mean, this is almost an inch, a little less than an inch. So definitely, if you're hitting your trebles here and your doubles on this board, you should be able to do them on this board for sure, and it's gonna help you with your steel tip play at the same time. And soft tip, so here's basically, I've got 2 rows here, where here I've got 2, 4, 5 rows of holes. So definitely much smaller. Really interested to play this thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this hung up on the wall. We'll get some power to it and we'll play a little on it. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and give the Gran board 1, 2, 3 a test run. One of the interesting things when setting this up is the power cord that comes with this versus the 3. Now, I don't have the 3S, and the 3S power cord may be the same as the Gran 1, 2, 3, but the power adapter, the power cord, the piece that plugs into the boards is different. This is a C adapter versus the other mini adapter. So slightly different adapters in regards to the cord. So just know that. You're gonna wanna use the one that came with it, of course. And it's a long cord, so which is really nice. So that was it, but I plugged it in, turned everything on, and it hooked up immediately to the app, which is really great, and the app recognized that it was a smaller board, that the segments were smaller. So just note that you may have to do some difference in regards to registration. Because of that, it did make a comment that guests would be different in some regards. I didn't play with any of that in particular, but we're gonna go ahead and play this. I like it. It's got the lights just like the Gran board 3 or 3S. Both have the lighted ring, and I like this white. Really stands out. The one thing is the numbers are really hard to see with the light that's on the board that I have pointing on the board, which is the 180 Illumina. And I'm sure with a ring light, there are a few out there that would work with this. Those numbers are gonna be hard to see just with that white background and their silver numbers. But let's go ahead and connect it with an app and give it a run. So I'm gonna do my favorite animal battle. I'm gonna go up against the walrus today as I'm playing on a smaller board. And it did keep my information in here as far as my player information. So if you have players that are already stored, of course the app's gonna keep that. We are set to play some cricket. Dylan, my son, has been all of a sudden back into cricket. He got away from it for a while and now he's back into cricket. I'm gonna go first, but I'm playing on this little inky dinky little board. See how it works. Oh, no troubles there. There's no button on this one. That is different. Normally there's a button down here. There's no button, so you have to use the app to change players. So if you look at the 3 or 3S, of course he hits a triple 20 because it doesn't recognize for the animals that it's a smaller segmented board just for you. But again, back to the little red button. That is one thing that is missing. I didn't notice that at first, but that is one piece that is missing from this. But you just hit it on the app and so you're good to go. Ooh, man, those, I gotta tell you, they look really small. I keep wanting to hit the button. The segments, they're small, for sure. Ah, I got the treble 19. Dart didn't stick though. Ah. Okay, that kind of cheated. I'll explain that in a second. I'm just gonna keep rolling with it. So technically it gave me an 18 even though I hit outside when it really shouldn't have. It gave me a single 18. The components in here are feeling the pressure. One of the other nice things here is these numbers light up for cricket, but it is feeling the pressure of the dart hitting, and so it just took it there. And again, it's a board that was just taken out of the box. It may need a little settling, so to speak. The best part is when you're filming and people come home and they open the garage door right in the midst of filming. But that's part of what we do here with YouTube, is deal with these things. All right, just leave it up now. Anyway, I'm gonna cut all that out. Let's go ahead and just do a, all right, so garage doors up, garage doors down. Let's go ahead and just do a wrap up and I'll talk a little bit about the board. I like it. I'm gonna take a few minutes and finish this game out, play with it a little bit, and then I'll give you a final wrap up with my thoughts on this board. But right now, I'm really liking it, and I think this might even be a board for those steel tippers that really don't play soft tip. You may wanna invest in this and some soft tip darts that are the same as your steel tip. Probably won't be the same weight, but I think this is gonna help your game all around. I think Gran has really come up with a home run when it comes to a board for practicing for both steel tip and soft tip. But I'm gonna play with it a little bit more. I'm gonna get Dylan in here to play with it a little bit, and I'll give you a final wrap up. So just hang on like a millisecond. So I got the Gran board 1, 2, 3 behind me, and I'm gonna say point blank, this is a fun board to play with. Having the opportunity to play with a Gran board, the first generation, then of course the 2 and the 3, because Dylan has the 2 in his room. So I've played with the different Gran boards. I played with the Nexus. I even played with, there was another board that was out for a while, Dart Connect, not Dart Connect as in the app, but Darts Connect. I think they may still be available. They were kind of like the first one to hit the market with this idea of the app where it was interactive across the world. They just didn't have the funding, where Gran had the funding and created this incredible thing that we've got now, where we've just got this connectivity. Of course, you have the Nexus that has that. But in regards to this board, you know, I've got steel tip boards that I've played with. I played with practice steel tip boards. This is kind of like an all-encompassing fun board. It's the practice board for the steel tipper with the games involved. You can play the animal battles, you can play some of the other games that are available, and Gran continues to build on this. This is the downside to the Nexus at this point. Nexus, Target, guys, you need to build on this whole situation. There's so much that you can do with it. The Gran board and Gran darts is just, they're thriving on this. It's incredible, it's so much fun. But for a steel tipper, again, this allows you the ability to practice with smaller segments and yet get the fun of soft tip in the apps. For soft tippers, this gives you the ability to practice your soft tip. You know, where steel tippers like, oh, your segments, you know, they're so much bigger than our segments. Well, now you can practice this and then go crush it on the steel tip boards in front of those guys, and you're gonna get all the fun that you typically get with the Gran Board and with soft tip. You play all the games, it's just the same app. So I think this is a home run in regards to all of that. We're gonna leave it up and just continue to play with it. Dylan's having fun with it. When he's able to hit a triple, he's able to hit the bullseye, it just lights his face up. He thinks it's really incredible. And of course, Caitlin's in here just messing with it as well. Guys, I'm gonna give this a total double thumbs up. This is an awesome product that Gran has put out. Yeah, it's a cost, it's an investment, but I think to step up your game, whether you're steel tip or soft tip, this is a must do. I'm loving this. This is awesome. We're gonna continue to play with it. Would like to see a black version of it. That would be really cool. And if maybe they could get a button like on the side or something, just because I'm so used to that. Okay, I'm now used to the app, so now I'm gonna be hitting the app when I have the other. It's gonna be a mess, but it's cool, it's fun, it's great. We're having a great time with it. Go Chiefs. Hopefully they win the Super Bowl. Guys, thanks for watching this review. I'm your host, Matt. This is Atomic Darts. Get yourself a Gran Board 1, 2, 3, and I'll see you guys on the next review. Don't forget to like and share this one. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. See you guys soon. Thanks. Wait. Don't forget to catch Coffee and Darts every week, Tuesday, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, where I interview cool people within the darts community, whether it's a professional player, a manufacturer, or just one of those that likes to watch the show. And occasionally I bring in just outsiders to introduce them to the darts community, and normally they've got something cool to talk to us about, like, what do you do with social media if you're a darts player? Could be useful to have that info. All right, guys, check that out Tuesday morning, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thanks again for watching. Again, I'm your host, Matt. See you on the next one.